Welcome back to London's Lost Rivers. Having previously walked the paths of the Fleet and the Westbourne in North London, this time we've crossed to the south to trace the path of the lost River Peck, which gives its name to, as you would expect, the suburb of Peckham. The Peck was enclosed back in 1823 and comes out into the Thames at Deptford by the Wharf. But we'll be heading south today, starting at Peckham with its library and the brilliant Peckham Peace Wall, and from here head south as Matt Brown starts his walk on Peckham Rye Common.
So if you thought that a peck was simply the quantity of pickled peppers that Peter Piper picked, then follow me.
We head south through a picturesque grove of trees to reach the main part of the common.
I'm on Peckham Rye Common, a place made famous by William Blake, who 2 centuries ago had a vision here of angels in an oak tree. And the place still has a slight air of mysticism about it today.
And the common, on this beautiful autumnal day, seems the perfect place for Matt to explain how Peckham Rye gets its name.
Peckham Rye, what does it mean? What's in a name? Well, the Peck part refers to an old ancient river that used to flow through this very park onto Peckham, through the Old Kent Road, down through Rotherhithe and out to the Thames near what is now Greenland Dock. Ham means village or place, so we have the village on the banks of the River Peck. And Rye is another old Anglo-Saxon name for a brook or river, Peckham Rye.
So why can't we see the river or any water running through Peckham today?
Well, if you know Peckham, you may not have seen a river running through it today, and that's because the River Peck was filled in some 200 years ago. There's still one place on Peckham Rye Common where you can paddle in its waters to this day.
Cross the common and enter the north side of the delightful Peckham Rye Park, one of London's hidden gems. And check out the map where you'll see some water running along the northern edge of the park.
And here we are, we're in Peckham Rye Park, which is a landscape part of Peckham Rye Common. And here is the River Peck flowing through the park along its northerly boundary. It's quite low water at the moment, but you could actually paddle in this, and I'm going to get my foot wet here. There we go. Pure Peck water.
Be sure to explore the park further. The River Peck is visible in several locations and even feeds this duck pond.
So we've had a little paddle in the Peck, but there's one more thing to see. If we follow the contours of the land upwards, we'll reach One Tree Hill, the very top of which is where the River Peck begins. Follow me.
So this isn't the volcanic peak in New Zealand that U2 sang about, nor is it the American TV series which took its name from that song. Confusingly, there's 2 other One Tree Hills in London, one's in Alperton and the other is in Greenwich Park. But our One Tree Hill is definitely located in Honour Oak.
Well, this is it. We're at the top of One Tree Hill. This is where, somewhere around here, a spring is the source of the River Peck, which we've seen flowing down through Peckham. And One Tree Hill itself has a fascinating history, or at least mythical history. The name comes from a huge old oak tree that once stood up here, where supposedly Queen Elizabeth I had a picnic one day in 1602. The oak's long gone, but there's a replacement here which was planted at the turn of the 20th century and is already looking pretty magnificent itself. Now this hill also has associations with Dick Turpin, the highwayman, where in London doesn't. He apparently used to stand up here and look for people to rob down below. Sounds a bit unfeasible to me. And it's also a place with all kinds of historical things from the Second World War. There's some gun emplacements over there still in place. There's the legend that Queen Boudica was defeated on this hill, which seems even more improbable than the Dick Turpin legend. But for our purposes, this is the sacred place where the River Peck begins and where our film ends.